I want to thank Pine and Clifton, who are the people behind this great event. I don't see Pine, but Clifton is someplace here. They're all super busy. I'm just going to ask you to put your hands together for them, please. When I was told about this conference, I was very happy to open the church to this event. Not too many pastors will do this because people are afraid of people. I don't care what religion you are, what culture you are, what background you are, you're named man. And you're made by God. And that's all there is about it. We may not worship in the same church or even worship the same God, but we all have same problems. You get the common cold, don't you? You get the flu, and everybody have some kind of maladies that they need to take care of. And so we are not here about religion, we're here about a relationship. Amen. And we preach love because love is the answer. All right, and what the world needs is not so much guns, but it's love. And so we thank you for you came here with your hearts full of love. There's not too many people would come into a church. Amen. But we thank God. This is a church called a Church of Reconciliation. It welcomes everybody. And everybody is welcome here at Light and Life Ministries. So just want to thank you again. I'm Pastor Taylor. And if you have somebody dead, you don't have no place to bury them, call me. Of course. So, I'm not advertising for the dead, I'm for the living. Amen. Did you come here to have some fun tonight? Amen. So I'll just relax, just take it easy. Don't stress yourself. That's why we're about medicine tonight. So if your blood pressure is going up, Dr. Sebi is in the house. Amen. And he will tell you what to do. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting this mic. Did you give me back the mic? Okay. Praise God. I have the pleasure of meeting this great man in my office, my family and I, my wife, my daughter, and he just loaded us up with information in just about 15, 20 minutes to half an hour. And I watch his DVD and stuff like that at home and understand that this man came here loaded and we're going to drain him tonight. He ain't going back home with no information in his tank. He's going to be empty. We're emptying him tonight, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please put your hands together and welcome Dr. Sebi. God bless us.
Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. I have to thank Pastor Taylor and his family for opening his doors to invite this message. It's a message that I tried to get away from, but was dragged to it. I also have to thank Pine and Clifton, who felt that I was probably worthy of this moment. And I have to thank you, the audience, for being so graceful and believing in the message to sacrifice your time to come this evening to listen to the message, not to me, because I'm you standing here. I came from the same family you came from, a Jamaican family. Half Jamaican, half Haitian. I'm your servant, Dr. Sebi. I hope that this evening we will journey on a path that would open up doors and windows that never before were open for us. I'm the little boy that didn't go to school. I didn't like school. You asked me, why didn't you like school? I didn't know, but I didn't like it. But I had parents that understood the little boy. I remember once, my grandmother was ashamed. She took me to school. Look, I crawled my way out that place. Then I was growing up. My friends used to shun me because I didn't go to school. The girlfriends, they didn't like me because I didn't go to school. Well, I had to obey that inner dictate. I couldn't obey nobody but me. I come first because I am the one with the feeling, not you, nobody else. But I lived it. I was obedient. Everybody loved me. And I love everybody then, and I love everybody now. I have no problem in loving. It makes it easy. So as I grew up, I had to begin to work at 13. And then I quit the job at 13, went to work in the commissary at 14. I quit that at 20. I became a merchant seaman. Well, I couldn't bargain for any position because I hadn't been to school. So I went to the engine room, cleaned the engine, changed the filters. Then I began to study the engine and I began to make diagrams, and 5 years later, I was an engineer. Five years more as an engineer, I decided to go to Los Angeles. I didn't want to be a seaman anymore. I went to Los Angeles. I got a job with the county. But little before I got the job with the county, I went to Mexico because it was a Mexican that prepared me for this night. Are there Mexicans in the audience? May I see your hand? There are none? Wow, that's unusual. There's always a Mexican when I talk. When I went to Mexico, I had asthma, I had diabetes, I was impotent, I wore glasses, and I weighed 291 pounds at age 30. The man looked at me and said that I was dying and that I had to change my way. Then he asked me, do you believe in God? I said, of course I do. He said, well, we have to take it up a notch. You have to deliver yourself. And what's the difference? You see, when you believe in God, you're not being too certain. But when you deliver yourself to God, you could only do those things and eat those things that God made. But we don't know what those things are. You see, I'm 78 years of age now. And I remember my journey from age 3. I could remember it distinctly. I remember the conversations. I remember the philosophies I heard. Well, it didn't matter with me. I had to live by my inner dictate. As an engineer, I understood something. I saw something. That all machines, they use the human body as the prototype. And what causes machine to go bad? Oil or obstruction, clogging. So what do? I do the same for you, like the Mexican did for me. He said, young man, please, you have all these diseases. You need to stop eating. I said, for how long? Only a few days, 90 of them. I started eating for 90 days, and at the ending of 90 days, here I am in front of you 38 years later. 48 years later. I was 30 then, I'm 78 now. I was born in 1933. could I be sick at 30 with all these maladies and made this change? The Mexican helped me. He took me away from meat. He took me away from all of the things that we think are good. They are not. I found that out. That everything that we put in our mouth is laboratory made. Laboratory made. Rice, beans, cows, goats, chicken, they're all laboratory made. And what does that mean? It means this. God made us. We were not made by a laboratory. If we were the product of a laboratory, then it means that we could eat laboratory food. Wait a second. I returned from Mexico from seeing this Mexican that brought me face to face with the Creator like no one else has ever done. I used to wonder what happened that other people are not receiving this kind of benefit from a healer. I was asthmatic, I was impotent, I was diabetic, and I was insane. And if you trace my history and investigate my history, I was a schizophrenic and paranoia in 1961. So now, this kind of information you do not find in the scientific world. You see, the scientific world wants you to talk about phosphates, carbonates, iodides, and bromides. They understand that language. But when you talk about God and herbs, they look at you like you're a voodoo man. So as an engineer, I begin to compound these herbs. And this Japanese man by the name of Fred Takashita said to me, "Hey, you, do you believe that you're could help my wife with these stupid herbs that you're experimenting with?" What's wrong with your wife? She has endometriosis and she cannot have babies. I gave her the herbs. She took it. But the very next day, a woman came with her husband. I was washing dishes in my house. When I look out the window, there was a man standing there, and he was blind. His name is Mr. Fredericks. He said, "I'm blind, and I heard that you've been experimenting with herbs. Could you make me see?" I said, "I don't know if I could make you see, but I'll try." That was a Monday. I gave him the herb that Monday. He said, "When am I going to see?" I said, "Friday." And I don't know why I chose Friday. The man didn't begin to see Friday. He was seen on Wednesday. I was ashamed, and I was afraid. I was embarrassed. Because here is a boy that never been to school, now have to elevate his giving on a scientific plane. Because if I talk to you and to the audience of the world about the Africanist in me, you would not understand that. Because the African in us has been suppressed for 600 long years. So, what do I represent? I represent the jungles. Of course I am from the jungle. But in the jungle, as we look back at the jungle, this is what we see. That in the jungle, there were no alcohol. There were no prostitution. In the jungle, we didn't have crack. In the jungle, we didn't even have clothes on, and nobody was naked. But all of a sudden, a group of foreigners came and saw us and said, "You are naked, and that is indicative of a savage. Oh, yeah? Fine with me. But you are the educated. You are the one that's scientific. I am the savage one. But I did not make weapons to obliterate humanity. I did not leave my environment to go and take that of another. I did not enslave anyone. I represent the jungle. And it is a very comfortable place for me because I am from the jungle. So as we go to the jungle, we find that we didn't have to know about science and food. But today, you have to know about protein. You have to know about enzymes. You have to know about vitamins. But as we put these things on the board in a couple of minutes, you will see that that was also a trick. It doesn't fit in the human body. A vitamin. What do you mean by a vitamin? Well, you see, you jungle people doesn't know about that. This is made in a scientific way, a laboratory. We make vitamins. But sir, could I ask the question? Is it a fact that the human body is electrical? Yes. Well, if we are to feed and nourish an electric body, should the substance be dead or electrical? It has to be electrical. This is affinity. This is chemical affinity. The body cannot accept a substance if it's dead. It has to be alive, just like you. Well, are vitamins alive? And if they are alive, a vitamin must necessarily have so many electrons per atom. Well, I don't know. Well, what about the other one they call protein? Protein is a very necessary food, according to who? And whose yardstick? What is protein? And I know for a fact that there is no one in this room tonight, that could properly identify that which is protein. Because my little girl has never been to school. She's 27 years of age now. I'd never sent my children to school. And the reason for that is Bengal tigers does not take the cubs to be trained by Siberian tigers. So when my little girl was 16 years of age, she looked at me and said, "Daddy, I want to go to school." I said, "What?" "I want to go to school." I said, "For what?" She said, "Well, my friends, I have none. All my life, up until now, is only you and Mom. So I want some friends. And I may even want a boyfriend." "Well, go to school. I'm not going to register you in." She took the car key, she went to school, registered herself in. The teacher said, "Where are your transcripts?" She said, "What is that?" "Your records from your previous school." She said, "But I've never been to school." "And you filled these applications forms out?" She said, "Yes." "You are 16 years of age and never been to school?" "Nope." Well, she passed the exam and she's in school, and they gave her one of these multi-tests, these multiple choice. And on one of them it says protein, equity or deficit. She put deficit. The teacher said, "Sebi, you never make mistakes. How do you make this one?" My daughter said, "What mistake?" "You said that protein is a deficit." She said, "It isn't." He said, "No, it's a necessary food." My daughter responded to that word, if protein is a necessary food, you do agree that being that I'm electrical, protein must have a definite amount of electrons to assimilate. How many electrons per atom does protein contain? Because iron has 9, calcium has about 17. How many does protein has? The teacher said, I don't know. She said, you don't know. And you tell me that I'm wrong. And you don't know. My daughter came home with all her books and put them in a trash can. Well, her father, the servant, began doing more experiments. I continued to do more experiments. One day, I quit my job, 1980. When I quit my job in 1980, I was invited by the government of Dominica, who was then under the leadership of Oliver Serafin. He had heard that I cured a woman of cancer of the liver, and a few diabetics and a few blind. He said, come on to Dominica. I'm going to build you a hospital. Oh, I felt so good, but I was totally wrong. Because I'm going to tell you this. There isn't a government in the world, African, South American, European, or any country in the world that is interested in the cure of AIDS that I know. I know that for a fact. Well, Mr. Oliver Serafin lost the election, and Miss Mary Eugenia Charles came and kicked me out. I said to her, Miss Charles, I would like to ask you a question. Why are you kicking me out? Because I only support the practice of orthodox medicine. Orthodoxy is the question. But is it a fact that the father of medicine, Mr. Hippocrates, what did he use to reverse disease? Herbs or chemicals? I don't want to hear it. I said, thank you, ma'am. I leave. I went to St. Croix. While living in St. Croix, I decided to put advertising out. They didn't like me there too much. I went to live in Puerto Rico, and it was in Puerto Rico that I'm going to do the craziest thing ever. I'm researching herbs. People are being cured, but I'm still researching, even now, that people have been cured of AIDS. And incidentally, I have the proof right here today that all doubts would be dispelled, because when a black man talks, it has no place, not only in the eyes of the other people. I'm rejected first by you. And the reason why you have to reject me is right in place. Look what you've been eating for the last 500 years. Starch and blood. Starch and blood. If I take those two compounds or those two items and put them into a biochemical perspective and begin to do analysis, what are we going to find in starch that would nourish my body when my body are made of electrons? There are no electrons in starch. So how am I going to replenish my energy? Oh no, this is not supposed to be said. Then you drink blood because you like to eat that meat. Well, Dr. Sebi, why are you talking this way? Well, you see, when God made things that depend on a specific food. And we will begin with the plants. Whenever I want to cure someone, or heal someone, or treat someone of leukemia, I am talking about the blood. And in talking about the blood, I have to consider a plant that the DNA or the active ingredient is iron. And what plant is that? Well, we could name the burdock, the sarsaparilla, or the marula. But if I want to treat your bones, you know, your bones, the one that makes you, that holds you up, I got to use calcium. But I have to go to a plant that has calcium. So I have to go to the ocean that they call is sea moss, Irish moss. The DNA of the Irish moss is calcium. We leave the plants, just go to the birds. When you ask someone, what does bird eat? They say seeds and fruits. Not so. Some bird would eat you. You call them eagles. Eagle eats meat, but not so for a quetzal or a sparrow. So when God made the black man, you think he put a cow in Africa? You think he put a chicken? You think he put a goat? You think he put lamb? No, brothers and sisters. Lamb, goat, cows, and chicken are hybrids. They were made in a laboratory, and they are not African. But you go to Africa today, that is all they eat. You say, my brother African, why do you eat cassava? It is the tradition of my people. Well, I'm not concerned with tradition. I'm concerned with culture, not tradition. Why do you eat gari? It's made from the cassava. God did not make cassava. Man did. And how do I know that? Well, I'm going to make it short. Anything that has starch is laboratory made. God did not make it. So now, when I stand before you this evening, your brother, your friends, telling you that I cure AIDS, how could you believe that? Why should you believe it? Well, Oprah Winfrey, she laughed at me. She had to. I'm black. How could she support a black man? But in this book, I will show you that there are diagnostic sheets from laboratories around the world, HIV positive, HIV negative. When I saw that, for about the 17th time, I told my mama, I said, hey girl, I'm going to put an ad in the paper that I cure AIDS. She said, you out of your mind. I said, why girl? Because I used to call my mama girl. Hey girl, why? She said, because son, you're not living in a world where truth predominates. You told me a story once and you were right. I was married to a woman and I came home on Sunday morning and she asked me, where were you last night? I said, I was with Evelyn all night long, making love to her. You know what my wife said? You are lying, go sleep. And that was the God in heaven truth. People just don't believe the truth. She said, but you have to put it. Because I have seen you cure so many people, and yet they disbelieve you. But if you put the ad in the papers, they're going to put you in jail. And when they put you in jail, then you're going to have to defend yourself. There goes the ad. 1985. AIDS has been cured by the Usher Research Institute, and we specialize in cures for sickle cell, lupus, herpes, cancer, blindness, leukemia, paralysis, and others. 9 different diseases plus others. When the Attorney General saw that in New York, he said, this man is out of his mind. Curing AIDS and sickle cell and blindness, the boy have got to be stupid. Well, I could understand that. Because when I went to South Africa, and I showed the people in South Africa that I cure AIDS, they look at me, boy, get out of here. I say, African, I know you right. all that gari and that fufu, that dead meat you've been eating, you have to reject me. But you gonna have to come back one day and retract those words. South Africa, I'm afraid of them. Never to return. Never again. Because, you see, you have no right rejecting something that you have not done research into analyzing. You have no right in doing that. So when you think that someone is telling you a lie, the liar is you, because you don't know. And this is precisely what happened to the Attorney General of New York, Mr. Robert Abrams. When he saw the ad that AIDS has been cured, he said, this has to be a lie. But how does he know that? How would he ever know that? The only way that he would know that, after I placed the ad, was to come and see me. Why did you place the ad, and where is your proof? I'm a black man. Remember that. Talking about a subject or a science that is potentially erosive to their structure. So why should they give me the credit of the benefit? No, no, no. So, on February 10th of 1987, I'm talking to a young man in my office, and he looked out the window. He said, Sebi, Channel 13, Channel 7, Channel 2, and Channel 5 is in front of your doors. They come to interview you. Interview me, all right, not what he thought. Next I know, my doors were kicked down. Police came with pistols in their hand. Are you Dr. Sebi? I say, yes, I am. Well, the Supreme Court, no, what you call it, the grand jury of New York have indicted you for practicing medicine without a license, selling product not approved by the FDA, and claiming to cure AIDS, which is a fraudulent claim. I say, Mr. Officer, how do you know that this is a fraudulent claim? He looked at me very stupid. You see, haven't you heard about the macrobiotic diet? That's Japanese. Oh, everybody just was eating a whole bunch of rice because the doctor from Japan said to eat rice. And I had more black people eating mounds of rice. That's carbonic acid. Then you have the Ayurvedic. They ask us to drink milk and eat ghee, which is going to hurt my liver. But that's beside the point. You niggas have nothing, so you have to listen to us. Then come the other one with the chemicals. But if you ask a physician, well, Mr. Physician, please explain this to me. How are your chemicals going to assimilate with a biological, carbon-based body? That cannot be explained scientifically. But you have nothing else. Oh, yeah? Well, guess what happened? In 1988, after I was taken to jail, there was one sensible man in the group that was against me. His name is Judge William Shorter. When I was in jail a week, the judge said, would you please let Dr. Sebi out on his own recognizance and have him come straight to my chambers? Wow. Somebody like Dr. Sebi. I went to the judge. He said, Dr. Sebi, nice meeting you. I'm Judge Shorter, and I'll be the one residing over your case in the civil case. But I would like to ask you a question. I said, yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor. Why did you advertise that you cure AIDS? why did I advertise that I cure AIDS? I said, Your Honor, my mama is alive, and my face is in front of you, and I represent a continent they call Africa. Do you believe that I would make a statement to undermine these three? He said, no. I said, thank you. I didn't tell the man a cure AIDS or not, but he put it together, and he said to the woman who was at the table, he said, young lady, she was from the Attorney General office. Her name is Phyllis Pay. Miss Pay, did you investigate Dr. Sebi before you arrest him? She said, no. The judge said, well, you're in trouble, because the response he just gave me, he cure AIDS. I mean, the judge is saying that. Well, I know that it would be difficult for anyone to understand that black man cure AIDS, especially one that has never been to school, because our yardstick is a European one. But we Africans, you don't see Bengal tigers taking their cubs to be trained by another. Oh, that is violating the very first law of nature. That's why I didn't send my children to school. And I didn't go. I didn't go because I was wise at 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. No, I just didn't like it. Like tonight, it is 9:30. I would be sleeping 3 hours ago. I do not go in the street after 6 o'clock, and that's been doing since I was a little boy. So now we get back to the subject. I'm in jail, I'm out, and the case begins. Dr. Victor Herbert is being interviewed by the Attorney General or the prosecuting attorney. This is in a civil case under Judge Shorter. I'm going to cut it short. Judge Shorter, no. Dr. Victor Herbert, have you ever heard of a therapy that cures AIDS? The doctor said no. Have you ever heard of an individual that cures AIDS? He said no. Have you ever heard of a compound that cures AIDS? The doctor said no. And the judge responded by asking the physician, Dr. Victor Herbert, have you ever used Exhibit A, Dr. Sebi's product? He said no. The judge said, thank you. In other words, the judge just destroyed that line of questioning, because the doctor praised himself as if though he knows everything. When the doctor saw that when the doctor saw that the judge destroyed his line, he responded by saying, Your Honor, I know all about herbs. The judge said, so, for instance, what? Take, for instance, the foxglove. We use the foxglove to make digitalis. The judge's response was, is it the white or the pink? I said, oh my God, the judge knows about herbs. You see, when I was arrested in 1987 on the 10th of February, my case didn't go to court until September of '88. 17 months later, the judge did research. The judge did research more than what Oprah Winfrey did. She told people that I was something other than good. But that is fine with me. But she promoted 1 million broken little pieces. And she got in trouble. But she cannot promote Dr. 7 Days in Ushaville with Dr. Sebi. And in this book, there are diagnostic sheets of people that was cured of AIDS from HIV positive to HIV negative. And I have a bunch of them in here. But Oprah couldn't do that because I'm black. You see, when you're black, you're in trouble. Your people turn against you first. But you know what you have to do? stand your ground, and you go down with the boat, regardless to who despise or reject you. Well, I know that Oprah couldn't do it. I know that she couldn't do it. I know that South Africa couldn't do it. I know Zimbabwe couldn't do it. I know Sierra Leone couldn't do it. Why? They eat starch and blood. If they hadn't eaten starch and blood, why would they reject me when I have clinical proof? I'm the only one on the internet that put the cure for AIDS. Why can't they come and arrest me again? Now, we're going to get to the other part, then we're going to the blackboard. I'm going to the, before I left the civil side, the judge said, stand up. Dr. Sebi, when you walk in my courthouse, the state wanted me to see you as a villain. I saw an honorable man. He said, I want to do something in America that makes the difference. All I did was to become a judge. But you gave me the privilege to judge that which makes the difference. Stand up. You won your case. Now you're going to the criminal side. When I went to the criminal side, it's a white woman. Judge Ann Feldman. She said, Dr. Sebi, would you please begin? I said, where do I begin, Your Honor? Well, this is your day. Begin wherever you want to begin. You know what I did? You see, I'm a very mischievous boy yet. I'm 78, still mischievous. I do things that would baffle you. You see, I stand before you tonight. I am not a man because I don't know what a man is. I hear the word, but I don't know what it means. I know by gender I'm a male. Am I right? Okay. They tell me that to live, I have to be ethical, I have to be moral, I have to have principles. Well, I don't know what that is either. I just live. Okay? I just live. I don't have any of those things. I'm not a man, so never refer to me as a man, because I don't know what it is. The judge said, begin where you want to begin. I say, Your Honor, I'm going to begin by 3 questions. And I'm going to rest my argument. I was my own attorney. I could not trust a lawyer because the lawyer couldn't defend me. He doesn't know what I know. So, Your Honor, I have 3 questions, and I rest my case on these 3 questions. What are they? Number 1, is it a fact that the Holy Bible teaches that the herbs are for the healing of the nations? In the book of Genesis, in the book of Ezekiel, in the book of Revelation. The judge said, you're right. The white judge said, you are right. The second question, Your Honor, is it a fact that the father of medicine, Mr. Hippocrates, that established the principle of medical science, did he use herbs or chemicals? She said, herbs again. Last question, is it a fact that the human body is carbon-based? And being that the human body is carbon-based, the substance to assimilate and repair and nourish has to be carbon-based. She said, yes, that's an herb. There are 3 physicians in the Supreme Court, Dr. Victor Herbert, Dr. Bonanno, and Dr. Christopher. These are people that's been to school. I hasn't. The judge said, do I get a response of these 3 questions from the physicians? They took their pencil and they started doing it as though they didn't hear anything I said. So the judge said, if I don't get a response in 2 minutes, this man will talk uninterrupted for the remaining of this case. But what response are they going to give? What I just asked, is the God in heaven true? But since we have to go to science, because you see, we don't live a natural world today. We live a scientific world. Oh yeah? We better stop that, because science showed that a chemical has no place in the human body, so why do we use it? But the breakdown that I want to understand is this one. Why is it that the Holy Bible shows us this, and my brother was a preacher, but when he got sick, he went to get the chemical. Why did he do that? And he was preaching for 30 years. You see, you know why he did that? The same reason why Oprah Winfrey rejected me, the same reason why South Africa rejected me, and the rest of the African country but one. Only one country in Africa invited me, and when he told me that he wanted me to go to Africa and do work, oh my God, I went home. I didn't tell my wife anything because I couldn't believe it. Do you know what country is that? Tanzania. President Kikwete, he said, you are going to bring to Africa the second liberation. Africa doesn't know that the age that exists is only because the autoimmune system of the human body has been destroyed. Africa was never supposed to eat meat and starch because these are not the product of Africa. Go and tell that to the Africans today. You get yourself in big trouble. At the ending of my case in the Supreme Court, when they went to deliberate, the juries, they came back. Practicing medicine without a license, not guilty. Selling products not approved by the FDA, not guilty. Because he doesn't sell medicine, he sells food. And claiming to cure AIDS and other diseases, not guilty. This happened in 1988, and they continue to tell my brothers and my sisters that there is no cure for AIDS. Right in this book here, y'all will read that there are people cured since 1994. Brother, read it to them, please. Here, you look at it. Go to page 100. It's right in that book. Tell that to the Africans. Tell that to the AIDS foundations that exist in America and all over the world. They're not going to listen to you. So Dr. Sebi went home one night and realized it's over. It's all over. Everything we see and hear is a bunch of words. A bunch of words. You know? A bunch of words about virus, about germs, about bacteria. A bunch of words. But when you put them on the blackboard, they have no place in human life or even science. A bunch of words. So one night, I'm in Chicago, and a man who all of you should know of, Dr. Peter Duesberg, he wrote the book, our book on AIDS, but he called and he never identified himself first. He said, Dr. Sebi, I'm not going to identify myself, but I'm going to ask you, why did you tell the Supreme Court that AIDS is not the result of a virus? I said, simple, because common sense. He said, common sense? I said, well, I know that common sense is not too common today, but common sense tells me that if AIDS was the result of a virus, my compound would not be able to cure him because they were not made to fight virus. They were made to nourish the body and to cleanse the human body, not to fight any virus. He said, you are right. AIDS is not the result of a virus. And let me tell you all something. I don't know what the big thing about AIDS is all about. Because pneumonia will kill you quicker and faster than any AIDS. So what's the thing about AIDS? Let me tell you something. Africa is dying. Africa is malnourished. Africa is suffering with severe anemia. That is what caused Africa to be sick, not AIDS. AIDS is only one of them. What about hepatitis? What about sickle cell? They all belongs in the autoimmune system. AIDS is a joke. So how do I cure AIDS? Well, unlike the physician, he claims it's a virus. I said it is mucus that you have broken down. The judge, when I said mucus in the Supreme Court, the physician, Dr. Victor Herbert, said, this man is insane. This man has to be insane, Your Honor. He said there's only one disease. Well, you have a problem with that? Because a black man is taking a position? I'm not going to back down. There's only one disease. I repeat it again. The judge said, what is the one disease? I say, Your Honor, you already knows it. When there is sinusitis, what's in the nasal passage obstructing? She said mucus. And when there is bronchitis, what's in the bronchial tubes? And when there's pneumonia, what's covering the lungs? The Dr. Victor Herbert gonna jump back and say something crazy. And what about AIDS? And what about AIDS? You and your one disease theory. Theory? Your Honor, Dr. Victor Herbert just said something that I do not subscribe to. Theory? Your Honor, I have never been to school. She said, you have never been to school? I said, no, ma'am. She said, help me. I don't believe in theories. I don't believe in anything. Either I know or I don't know. It's as simple as that. Dr. Victor Herbert said, it's a theory. Have you been to an AIDS ward, Your Honor? She said, yes. What is it that the AIDS patient spits up every 5 minutes? He said, mucus. Where is the mucus? It's in the skin. It's in the blood. It's in the lymphatic system. And the three of them together makes the immunological system. The blood, the skin, and the lymphatic system makes up the immune system. That is where you find the mucus. I should know because I cure AIDS. When the jury came back with the verdict of not guilty, you know what the judge said? If you had not come back with that not guilty verdict, I would have given Dr. Sebi a not guilty verdict because he came to the Supreme Court with 77 people that was killed from AIDS to blindness. No one has ever done that in the Supreme Court of New York. So now, where do we go from here? We go to the blackboard. We're going to come to this blackboard and we're going to talk about something that we have yet to be shown. Yes, that would be good. Thank you. It would be good. Well, they will see it too. Where is the pencil? Oh, thank you. Thank you so very much. Give me the black one. Yes, we're going to go to this board and try to make sense. Because sometimes I'll be talking and I don't even make sense to myself. So I want to make sense to you. We're going to draw a line. I'm going to come down. This is a line that I always use to break down food or any substance that is alkali or acid. According to science, science have selected this number 7 as being the neutral zone. A pH of 7 means it is neither alkali nor acid. It is neutral. 7 you find in distilled water. Now look what I had to do. I had to go and up my understanding a little bit with science. I didn't want to do that because I'm very lazy. I don't like to talk too much. I'm going to tell you what I have to tell you and walk away. Regardless if you believe it or not, that's not my business. But now, because we are indebted to science, I have to go the scientific way. But when we were in the forests of Africa, we didn't have to know about any pH. You know what pH means? That is the abbreviation of hydrogen ion concentration. Meaning what? Oh my God, there we go again with science. If you are below 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that is on the acid side. Anything below 7 is acid. That's acid. Anything above 7 is alkali. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Alkali. Now, common sense would tell us that if energy is only found in an alkali battery, you do not find energy or get energy from an acid battery. It always says alkali. It has to be. For it to have energy, it must be alkali. So if I'm to eat a food, don't you think that common sense would tell me that my food should be alkali? So when you put some dumpling in your mouth made out of flour and some bami, is that alkali? No, it isn't. So where did we get this information from? This cornbread. Oh yes, we think that corn is alkali too. But where did we get that? Was it the school that you guys had? Because I didn't have it. I didn't go to school, see. I'm the boy that used to be by the river instead of school. So what happened? Something's going on. But anyway, over here, we're going to put garlic. Why are we going to put garlic? Because garlic has a pH of 3.3, very acid. 3.3, garlic. Cow milk, 6. Rice, like 5.5. Beans, the same thing. All of these things belongs on the acid side. But these are the things that we've been eating. So this is what happened. I was married to a woman in Louisiana by the name of Melba Jean Thomas. And she used to feed me these neck bones. And in Louisiana, they eat plenty beans and rice and sweet potatoes. So one day, when I couldn't make love to her anymore, I'm impotent, she tells the neighbor, you know, my husband is not what he used to be. I know I'm not. But who was feeding me the garbage? She were. Eggs in the morning, hot cakes with butter on them, big glass of milk. And you can search my history. I was asthmatic from the day I was born until I was 30. And one day, one of the most beautifulest things happened to me. I came off the ship and I caught my wife in bed with another man. Oh my God, I was so happy. I was the happiest man in the world. You see, the reason why I was happy, because me and two other guys had stole some money, and my share was $56,000. And I just came from Panama, and I'd won $20,000 in the lottery. So I had $76,000 that my wife didn't know about. I hope that she find Moment. I went to Los Angeles, and I bought myself a car, and I bought myself a house. And I was riding around in my Volvo, and I had my little $23,000 home. I still have about $50,000 left. She never knew that. And I met another one. And she said, I love you. I said, girl, be cool with that, because I've been told that 1,000 times. But she was very good. She turned to be, ooh, what a woman. I was an engineer then. Marilyn from Memphis. As much as she loved me, and as much as I love her, I took her to dinner one night, a Friday night. I said, Marilyn, I'm going to leave you. She said, is there another woman? I said, never. I said, you know I've been with you for 9 years. I come home every day. We bathe every day. You bathe me, I bathe you sometimes. How could there be another woman? And why are you leaving me? I said, Marilyn, I bought this house. I'm giving it to you. I got this car. You got your own Volvo. I got mine. I said, I'm making a lot of money. I'm making over $2,000, $3,000 a month. In 1980, I'm making over $3,000 a month as an engineer. And you're going to leave it for what? I said, I have to leave this. Since that Mexican killed me, I cannot understand me being an engineer without letting the world know that there is a cure. I'm quitting my job. I quit my job. And I journey on this path. And God helped me. But one night, it wasn't too easy on me. Remember when I said that they kicked me out of Dominica? I'm in St. Croix. I spent all the money I'd saved. Buying this and buying that, house and all the things for the house, you know, furniture. Now I'm in St. Croix. I'm sleeping on somebody's floor. And I don't understand this. The moonlight was full. I went by the ocean, and I began to cry. I began to cry, really cry. I mean, I felt defeated, because I just left my job a year ago. I know I could do the work that I said I was going to do. I was confident in myself, but now I'm losing confidence because it looked like nobody in St. Croix believed in me. They used to throw fecal matter in bags at my doors. Oh, boy. Nobody knew me in St. Croix. How are they to believe me? So the next day, my wife said, look, we only have $700 left. I'm giving you $100 to go to the grocery store and buy the food for the children. We only have $6 left. When I go to the grocery store, I'm going out the cash register. A voice came, Dr. Sebi, I want to thank you very much for curing my husband. I said, ma'am, I think you got the wrong individual. In St. Croix, nobody knows me here. No, you cured my husband in Dominica. My husband was blind and he's seeing. You never knew that. I said, no. The only blind man I've ever cured is in Los Angeles, Mr. Fredericks. No, my husband is seeing. You know how he's seeing? You know who my husband is? I said, no, ma'am. Remember when the policeman came to you and said that he was impotent? And he was no longer impotent because his wife used to pick up the medicine? And he asked you, how could you cure someone without seeing them? I said, because you don't drink me. You drink what God put in those herbs, in that bottle. You don't drink me. You drink herbs. God made those, not me. And they are made to cleanse the body and to rebuild cells. It's as simple as that. It's a cleansing, an intracellular cleansing, and a rebuilding of the intracellular system. Do you know that all the people that was in that supermarket that heard that, I became the Pied Piper. They were after me now. So God must have tested me the night before because I was defeated. I was giving up. But now, here I am. And I continued. So now, as we put garlic and all the stuff that you eat, don't even ask me what else goes on here. Because you know them already. You've been eating them all your life. Look at me. A child was born with asthma. What was his parents eating? They were eating garbage. Then I'm the result of that adulterated sperm. And you think that I'm sane right now? You think I'm wrapped tight? Yes, I cure AIDS. That's nothing. To cure AIDS is child's play. Don't let nobody fool you, brothers and sisters. It's just a matter of staying away from the acid foods and cleanse that system properly. There goes AIDS and all other diseases. So now, we should be concerned, what are we going to put on the alkali side to eat? Well, you're lucky you live in Canada, because Canada has a lot of natural foods. In fact, there is a plant that is from Canada called the Canadian snake root. It's one of the best roots in the world. I buy my maple syrup from Canada. They have wild rice in Canada. They have spelt in Canada. They have amaranth in Canada. Canada has a large variety of more natural foods here than the United States. So what do we put over here? Spelt. What else we put over here? Well, you could put amaranth. And you could put much of the greens that you eat over here. But you want to stay away from the starch. That is the enemy. Starch is a chemical. It's not a food. Starch is carbonic acid. So when you eat it, why do you eat it? Because you were trained to eat it. And starches is what I lost many patients by. Did you all remember a movie star by the name of Rerun? Rerun was named Fred Berry. Fred Berry came to me in about 4 months. Fred Berry is straight again. Fred Berry diabetes, his impotence, his high blood pressure, and his gout is gone. Fred Berry is going home one night, and he passed by M&M restaurant, and the smell in that restaurant said, "Hey, Fred, come on back, man. At least one more time. Just one more time, man, before you make that plunge into the vegetarian world. There's some baby back ribs here. There's some tater salad. There's some neck bones." And Fred turned back and made that mistake. And they found him dead eating the food. Another one, there is an island in the Caribbean that every time I get a patient from this island, I'm scared. That island is Trinidad. There isn't a food in the Caribbean that is as addictive as the Trinidadian food. We're going to Pearl Punter and Christine Punter. One of them had cancer of the breast. 2 years later, the doctor had problem finding it. But she ran back to Trinidad. And boy, did she put the curry in her mouth. And did you know that curry is made of turmeric? And also, the other one is called paprika. Do you know how they make paprika? Well, I'm going to tell you guys, brothers and sisters and friends. Paprika are considered polymers. Polymers are artificial chromosomes. It's a laboratory product. Turmeric, likewise. These are agents that would definitely, surely cause cancer. They both died after looking so good and doing so good. But the last one that did really bad for me was Al Pratt. Al Pratt was in Honduras. He had AIDS, and he made a mistake. He went to the physicians, and the physician told him, "You HIV negative." He said, "Yeah." The doctor said, "Yes, you are." Al Pratt came to me and said, "Dr. Sebi, thank you." "Thank me for what?" "I'm HIV negative." I said, "Al, sit down. Let me tell you something. You may be HIV negative, but the doctor was the one that sent you home to die. They signed your death warrant. So how could they be the one to tell you you're cured? You're not cured. You're HIV negative, but your immune system is as weak as it could possibly be. And if you put something in your mouth before a year that doesn't belong in your mouth, you are dead. So don't worry about it." Al's birthday is tomorrow, Thursday, and this is a Wednesday. Al is from Atlanta, Georgia. I'll call my wife that Wednesday night and ask my wife, "Matun, do you think I could eat Burger King?" My wife said, "Now why are you asking me this? You can't eat Burger King for the rest of your life." I don't eat Burger King. And I didn't have AIDS. He went and he ate the Burger King and died 4 o'clock in the morning. So brothers and sisters and friends, whenever you cleanse your system, you cannot go back and eat that stuff that you thought was good. No, it's going to take a toll on you. So now, as we come over here to show what you could eat, I'm going to give you something really fast. When I wake up in the morning, in order for me to maintain my knees in good shape, boom, I could fall on my knees, right? But when I was 30, I couldn't do that. At 78, I could do it because I drink that sea moss. A mug of sea moss in the morning and 2 glasses of water. But I would take something that I make called the green food. The green food plus, which you will be having here through Pine and the other brother, Clifton. Going to straighten your bones. Going to straighten your nerve. So in the morning when you wake up, don't think of those eggs, because that's going to hurt you. Other races could do that, but you can't. Like God did not put meat in the gorilla environment. He put leaves. God did not put any cows in Africa. Cows did not come out of Africa. Neither did any of the starches. But we didn't know that. Well, how were you supposed to know that? The school didn't teach that. It doesn't teach that now. So how were we supposed to know that? I'm not smarter than you. I am not smarter than anybody in this room. I'm you standing here. I just happen to intercept the right information. That is all. That is all. So you would think that at 78, I should be sicker than when I was at 30, right? I couldn't fall on my knees. I fall on my knees on concrete. I don't feel any pain. But the people who uses chelated calcium, coral calcium, tell them to do that. They leave their knees on the floor. Now, breakfast we talk about, right? Sea moss. But if you want to add something to eat, use the spelt bread. And you could saute some mushrooms. Mushrooms are very good. They're very high in phosphorus and iron. Then you go to work. You're going to give your country and your employee more energy. Your employer more energy. And when you leave your work, you're going to have energy. And you're not going to have any problem with your neighbor. You're going to love them. Why? Because you're eating foods that your body needs. So I don't eat at noon. That is out. I do not put anything in my mouth at noontime. I'm going to eat around 3, 4 o'clock. And what am I going to eat now? Well, I saute some greens. You know, you have it. What your Jamaican people call it? Kalaloo. You don't have to put the sand fish in it because that's loaded. They have to put sulfide in that stuff to preserve it. But sulfide going to rob you of your oxygen. You don't do that. So you put your kalaloo, you put your onions and bell pepper. Don't put no garlic in it. So what you going to eat with the kalaloo? Then you got quinoa. They sell quinoa here in Toronto. Of course they do. Just go to the health food store. Then after a while, the health food store is going to notice, well, the industry is going up. Why? Because people are getting healthier. Then the police wouldn't have too much work to do. And you would not be able to think bad of your neighbor. You would love your neighbor because now you are loving yourself. I could talk about that because in 1961, I want to blow my brains out. But look what saved my life. I was still a merchant seaman. I was going to India. And my life was really destroyed. Oh, I want to hand it. I bought a 38. I went up on the top of the ship and I put it under our old mattress. And I planned the hour to kill myself. I'm going to hold on to the railing outside, blow my brains out, and then fall in the ocean. The night before I'm to do that, I'm talking to an Arab named Miseli Mohammed. He's from Algeria. And I was telling him some things that I had learned through my history. And he was looking for me. I was already on the top of the ship, contemplating blowing my brains out. Suleiman came up there, Miseli Mohammed came upstairs and said, man, I've been looking for you. I said, what you looking for me for? Man, that stuff you told me last night, you saved my life, man. I said, oh God. This man is telling me that I saved his life and I'm about to take my own. I didn't have the nerve to go under the mattress to take the gun out because I was afraid that if I take it in my hand, I would blow my brains out anyway. So I kick it over the side. I never tell Muhammad that he saved my life though, because I quit the ship after I got back. So I'm showing that from the lowest state of existence, you could come back. And I don't care what age you are, because I'm going to show you, for instance, a man, an example. Manuel Roman, he's from Spain. He came to me, this Spanish man was something else. He said, look, you nigger, I'm giving you $1,500. And if you lie to me, I'm going to blow your brains out. I said, don't worry about it. He said, don't worry about it. You better worry about it. So He went home. He took the treatment. The man had a big belly. He had gout, diabetes, and everything else, high blood pressure. 6 months later, his wife called me and told me she going to kill him. I said, why are you going to kill Manuel? Her name is Erlinda from Ecuador. She said, because since you've been taking your remedy, he's having sex with the cook, with my sister, with the neighbor. How old is Manuel Roman? He's 84. I'm going to Los Angeles. Charlotte Hudson. She walked in the office. Oh, Doc Sebi, you know I'm poorly. The girl is poorly. She took the remedies. She came back. Her hair like beehive, and she got a waistline. She said, well, how do I look to you now? Let me tell you something. Age is not a factor, because we don't know how long we were supposed to live healthy. You and I would never know. Why? Because you and I, the children of people that ate meat and starch. You understand? So how long did we live before we were exposed to the meat and the starch? How long? Do you know how long we live in Africa before we ate the garbage? No, you don't know. So now, when we come back, after the break, we'll go into the second part of this healing journey. Thank you. Many of you may be wondering that in the speech that I gave before we return, I didn't fully explain the difference with what we have been given, what we are being given, and the difference with that and what I offer. It's very simple. We have to go back into the history of medicine. It all began with God Almighty. God made us, God made the herbs. There are consistency there. God made us, and the scientists made some chemicals. Well, that cannot hold true, because the chemical is a laboratory product. We are not. I put together compounds not to cure any specific disease. I didn't make any compound to cure AIDS or diabetes or impotence, blindness. No. I made a product that is going to cleanse, and I make another to rebuild. An intracellular cleansing and a revitalizing of the cells electrically. Electrically, someone said to me, well, all I have to do is put my finger in a socket. Well, that's your interpretation. But natural plants are considered native plants geologically. A native plant differs from an artificial because a native plant is carbon-based. It's electrical. A plant that was made, not so. I'm going to compare two. Aloe vera. Everybody talks, and they also feel that aloe vera is a good plant. They've been advertising it. But an aloe vera is a hybrid plant. The natural plant is that white cactus. That is natural. Also the agave, not the aloe vera. If you give the aloe vera a pH test, you put aloe vera on the acid side. Aloe vera. It belongs over here. What I did was to carefully select from the forest the plants that are natural. Plants like the kankansa from Africa, the marula, the iboga. The other one that you guys, many of you should know about this one. They call it the hoodia. The hoodia plant is used to lose weight. But why does it help you to lose weight? Because it nourishes the body so well, you don't want to eat because you're not hungry. But when you eat something that is denatured or starch, the more you eat, the body keeps saying, I'm still hungry. And you eat some more, and I'm still hungry. You eat some more, and I'm still hungry. And you begin to buy these larger dresses without realizing that your body is talking to you. It is telling us you are hungry. But we interpret hunger with eating a lot to quench it. No. Hunger only says that you are starving for the food that is natural. And in proportion, I'm going to give you an example. You could eat 5 pounds of food, never receiving any nourishment. But if you eat 2 ounces of something natural, you will feel the energy immediately. Why? Because it will assimilate. Assimilation means it's going to go and digest with you. It becomes one with you. If we have problem understanding that, I'm going to show you another example. Whenever summer comes or spring and the grass begins to grow, you take yourself a knife and you chop away the grass and you clean a little circle area and you put a plant that is unnatural in the ground, like a carrot or a beet. Tomorrow when you get up, those defense that the planet has would eat that stupid carrot up. Just a minute. Why did the bugs eat my carrots and the bugs did not eat the grass around it? And there is more grass than there is my carrot. We never ask those questions because the school didn't prepare us to ask those questions. You know why the bug eats your carrot? It's just like your white corpuscles in your body. Whenever there is a microbe in the red corpuscles, in the red blood cells, the white corpuscle want to eat it up. But in trying to eat up what's in your blood, it winds up eating you because you have not stopped the garbage from coming in. That is in the case of leukemia. Remember what I said. There's only one disease. That is why the judge asked me in the Supreme Court of New York, why do you give everybody the same compounds? There is only one disease. But we never knew that. Because our researchers, our scientists, our leaders, they engage in revolution. I know, I'm 78. When I was in my 30s, there was Totally Carmichael. There was the Black Panther Party. There was the US. Well, I don't know what they had these organizations for because all they were doing is talking. It's a bunch of words. And I was looking at these sick people, and I was seeing where we needed healing. So, because of our researchers not giving nutrition or healing any attention, you never knew what it was about. They were engaged in revolution. So one day, I asked one of the greatest of them all, Mr. Stokely Carmichael. I said, Mr. Stokely, you know I'm not a revolutionist. I don't know what that is. And I don't know how that fits in the whole cycle of life or in the procession of life. But what is it that you want to do after the revolution? Let us hypothetically say that you won the revolution. What are you going to do after that? Well, we're going to rebuild, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. Well, why can't you do that now before the revolution? No, he couldn't see that because his brain was full of starch and blood. So one day, he thought that I was saying a whole bunch of nonsense. I was in a car with Abby Lincoln. Anybody knows who Abby Lincoln is? She was in the car with me and Stokely. So she sit in the back. And she said to Stokely, Stokely, are weapons the tools of our fathers? The boy went off crazy on her. What are you talking about? Are you talking about love? Am I supposed to love white people? She said, well, you could hate them if you want to, but the only person that will be living with hate is you. I said, now listen to this woman. Brothers and sisters, I used to be a Muslim. Why did I join Islam? I didn't join Islam because of Allah. I joined Islam because I heard some things that sound like we was going to build and that we were going to protect ourselves. You see, we are under the impression that the white man, the Chinese, and the Arab is supposed to help us. Why should they help us? There is no reason. That has never been in history that one race step out of themselves to help another. I know I wouldn't, because that's none of my business. So the white race and the black race and the Chinese race and the Eskimo race, we all are different, and we are supposed to take care of ourselves. And this was precisely why I became what I am, because I saw the need of it. But I also knew that you were going to reject me, and that it was going to be a while before you would begin to assimilate the information. It took time. But let me say something to you tonight. Do you know I have been talking for now 38 years? I have never had an audience this big. I mean, I had to come to Canada. You see how things move? I had to come to Canada. And the village that I built in Honduras is a healing village. I got people there from all over the world. I just had Rabbi Neosov, flew all the way from Jerusalem to Honduras. A white man, Jewish man, flew from Jerusalem to Honduras. That was mind-boggling. How could this white man come to see me when my aunt lived across the way from me and she had a black toe? I said, hey, Aunt, you know, like the doctor gonna cut your toe off. He said, that's okay. If you don't touch it, it's okay. I said, don't touch it. They're going to cut your toe off. They cut the toe off. They cut the foot off. They cut the leg off. My aunt saw people come from across the world to see me to be healed, and she couldn't do it. They cut the other leg off, and she died in the wheelchair. We have a tendency in our sick state to judge everybody on the planet. One of them is this: they should have never put us in slavery. You hear that one often, right? Well, how did that occurrence occur? Not, God would not have willed that. Now, I ask the question, if we were not supposed to be where we are right now at this moment, where in Africa would you like to live? You better be glad you're here. So the act was not one that was of viciousness. It was an occurrence that was supposed to occur. Because out of that came the healing. Because of that necessity. We are not going to blame the Chinese, the Arab, or the white man, or anybody for anything. We have to look to ourselves. When I was in Munich, I gave a speech just like this to a group of Germans. And the German man said to me, now that we know that you cure AIDS, who do you think going to help you? I said, the world. He said, the world doesn't cure AIDS. You do. So the black man cure AIDS. Who should help you? Oh, you're saying the black race. He said, who else? I said, but the black race cannot help me. Why? Because they're compromised. They are compromised. They cannot see me. I doubt whether they'll be able to ever see me. But that doesn't matter. Because I see myself like Malcolm or King. I see myself as all the other people that came before me that were not seen, like Charles Drew. Charles Drew, who was the man that invented the preservation of blood plasma. How did he die? Wanting for blood. Because at the time that he got in the automobile accident in Atlanta, Georgia, he's a black man. And in the 40s, I mean, nigga, get out of here. What you mean you come into my hospital? But in 1964, God came down to America and told America, integrate with the black people. So we were accepted as equals. We will never be equal. We're not equal to no one. We are not like anybody else on the planet. But that doesn't make us better or worse than anybody. It makes us different. That's all. Because look at this. There were white people that gave their life to free black people. They are black, they are white people that said things about us that black people should have said, but because we didn't know, we didn't say it. One of them is Arnold Eretz. The other one is Pablo Arriola. Pablo Arriola said, if your ancestors are European, your body is programmed to digest lactose. But if your ancestors are African, your body is not programmed to digest lactose. Here is a white man talking to us, giving us advice, but we can't hear it. We cannot hear it because we were made deaf. So now, like slavery took place, which was a natural occurrence, what about this occurrence tonight? That you are hearing a message that was never brought to us before. Because our leaders are into spirituality and philosophy. And that's good with me. I'm not either one of them. I'm about reality. I was taken to City College in New York by a young man by the name of Nieves. His daughter is sitting in the back with her little brother. I'm going to give a speech. The brother asked, Dr. Sebi, what are you going to talk about today? I said, I don't know. We'll talk about the soul, mind, and spirit. The little girl said, "You better not. I mean, you better not." I said, "Why, Taina?" Her name is Taina. She said, "You know I hate you. You know I will always hate you." And you know why she hated me? Because Taina had a very bad, she had a vaginal discharge that was green, that was smelly, like she had a disease contacted through one of those STDs. No, she was drinking too much milk and things that would break down her reproductive organ. So I told her mother to discontinue the use of those things on Taina. The vaginal discharge left, she was cured, but she still hated me because she liked to drink milk and eat cheese. She said, "But I'm going to tell you something. Even though I hate you, one thing about you I know. You tell the truth. And if you talk about the soul, the mind, and the spirit today, you are a liar. Because you don't know about those things. Those things did not come out of the naturalness of life. They came out of the imagination." I said, "Oh my God. A little 12 years old girl. But wait, another 12 years old girl is going to trip me up also another day." I got to see this lady. She was very sick. So I told her many, many, many things about what she needed to do and what caused it. Guess what the little girl did when I was leaving? She said, "Dr. Sebi, I know what you told my mommy." I said, "What did I tell your mommy?" "Starch and blood would cause a flood. That flood the brain, that brings the pain, that causes lame." What did you say, little girl? Starch and blood would cause a flood that floods the brain, that brings the pain, that makes us lame. A 12 years old girl did that? I'm not ready for that kind of stuff. But she was right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, even though there is history of me curing AIDS, and that's recorded in the Supreme Court in New York, I'm not afraid to say it, I'm still learning. I don't know everything. I would never know everything. That's impossible. And I don't want to know everything because that's a hell of a job. I don't want that because, remember, I like to be by the river. Tonight is 17 years since I spoke to people and be around brothers and sisters and other folks. No, no, no. My wife and my children separated me from the world. Why? Because they saw where I was getting sick and tired of this rejection. I'm comfortable with rejection, but don't bother me now. I like to be by the river with my toes in the water. I do that now. I like to go to sleep at 6 o'clock. This is 11 o'clock. I'm not in bed yet. I don't do that. Because that's not my stuff. I'm in bed at 6. Yeah, I'm going to wake up at 3 o'clock. But I like doing that. So there's a lot of things I'm doing tonight that I don't normally do. But I like doing it because I have never been to a place that made me feel so comfortable like Toronto. So now, the journey of healing means that we have to begin to abstain in increments the thing that hurt us. We have to. Why? Because you're not going to tell me that you love yourself when you're eating some banh mi and some big heavy dumpling and some pig feet. Because I know what that does to the brain. And if you eat this stuff, you're going to begin to get angry inside, not only with yourself, with your neighbor, not to mention another race. I made a statement in Washington just recently, which was a crazy statement. I said, I would like to see Obama and Osama bin Laden walking down Connecticut Avenue in D.C., amen, how are we going to irrigate the desert to make life better for these 6 billion people? And how are we going to increase the education system? But now, Osama bin Laden and Obama coming together, that's wishful thinking. But why shouldn't they? Tell me. Tell me what couldn't be resolved with love. You know when you get angry with your lady, or you are fought, and one day she tell you, baby, I love you. Oh my God, what did you say that for? You feel that you could conquer the world because your baby said, I love you. Well, if you could feel that good with the word being deployed to you, what about you doing the same for someone else? I want to give you guys one of the best classical examples that I've had in my lifetime to prove to me that there is no such thing as bad people. Bad people does not exist. Sick people exist. Because remember Angela Yates? She drowned her 5 children. Do you think that a mother gonna drown her baby that she brought into the world willfully? Something must have happened. So I'm on this ship, right? And Bert Bolts used to always let the evaporator overflow. So, you know, he's a white man from Mississippi. So the engineer, the chief engineer sent me to tell Bert to discontinue doing that. So I went to see Bert. I said, Bert, chief said that you should stop leaving the evaporator overflowing when I take over the watch. He said, nigger, are you out of your mind talking to me, nigger? I said, Bert, say it again. Say nigger again, Bert. He said, nigger. I said, say it again. I like it. Say it, Bert. Don't you stop. He said, what do you mean? I said, say it. I want to say it, but it sounds good coming from you. Say nigger, Bert. Bert, say nigger again. And then he looked at me and he stopped. I said, you're not going to say it? Well, I'm going to say it for you. Nigger. It doesn't sound good, Bert. I want you to say it again. And Bert realized that he just made his first mistake with me. I said, Bert, I thought that you only had the problem with the evaporator. But you have a problem with yourself. Guess what happened? Look at the truth gonna come out. This is a white man from Mississippi that called me a nigger. Well, I like when you call me that. I love it. To me, it's a word of endearment. That's how I use it. I quit the ship what year? 1963. When we're going to India, Bert began to steal everybody's properties. And he goes and tell the captain that he's a thief. I said, Bert is not a thief. The captain said, are you crazy? I heard he called you a nigger. And you could defend a white man? I said, yes, because he's not a thief. I said, come. The captain came down with me. The captain is a Norwegian. Captain Freddie. I said, Captain, hey, Bert, do you have my wallet? He said, yes, Bowman, I have your wallet and your mother's picture and $200. I said, is that a thief? The captain looked at me and said, why are you aboard the ship? I said, no, I thought Bert was crazy, but you are crazier. Where am I supposed to be at this minute? He said, no, Bowman, you took the time out to go deeper into Bert than the average individual. You must have some kind of gift. I don't know what gift that is, but I'm supposed to be aboard the ship with you right now. 1963, I quit the ocean. 1989, a group of lawyers from New Orleans paid me $3,500 to go to New Orleans to talk about how I won my case in the Supreme Court, because it is a landmark. I dash off to New Orleans with I had 3 wives then. You see, I took 2 of them with me. I say, come with me. You know, hold it. Now, I don't want y'all to think that I was looking for 3 wives. You see, the first wife selected another one to be my wife because her parents came from Africa. She used to that. But when another woman came from Trinidad and she saw me with 2 wives, she said, well, if the brother could handle 2, he could handle 3. So, and she is the one I'm with now. The other 2 left. So I'm in New Orleans. I said, ladies, do you know that my first city in the United States was New Orleans? And it is here that I became a seaman. And I know that there are some of us still in that Union Hall. I went to the Union Hall. I saw Victor Franklin. I saw Rupert Hemmons. And I saw. And I'm walking back now, bidding everybody goodbye because now I am the messenger of healing. I'm going back to the car. And here come a dirty white man. I mean, he got holes in his shoes. And I passed him up. And when I got about here, I heard, Bowman! This is Bert. This is Bert. I know one day I'm going to see you. It's been 26 years, 13 hours, and so many minutes. I said, Bert? He said, yes, I know I'm going to see you one day, and you're going to heal me. How did this white man knew that I was going to be a healer one day and that I was going to heal him? This is 26 years later. How did he know that? Guess what? His brother just gave me $3,500. I goes in my pocket. I came up like with 1,000. I said, Bert, you're going to buy some clothes and some shoes. He said, man, I don't need this. I need you. I said, Bert, you need this too. My wife, one of the wives, Annette, said, I'm going to tell the brothers in Harlem you gave a white man some money. I said, no, it's not something. I'm going to tell them in Harlem that I gave a white man some money? Well, that white man just did something for me that I wish some brothers could do for me. He showed me love because he said that he remembered me for 26 years. Understand? And I had to respond. Bert was healed. He went back to work with his parents in Mississippi with the tire company. How did that make me feel? The same way I felt when I went to Germany. And the German asked me, how much you going to charge me to heal my nephew of AIDS? I said, $6,000. The man did not give me $6,000. He gave me $175,000. And that is what I used to build the village with, to begin the village. So you see, you cannot carry, and we will never carry that hate. But we are not the carrier of hate. We don't know how to do that one. I gave a talk in a church some years ago, a Seventh-day Adventist church like I'm talking tonight, and a woman curiously asked me a question. What have you learned from the entity of healing? What have you learned, Dr. Sebi, from it? Guess what I told that woman in that church? You would not believe this, but that's the way it came out. And that is the God in heaven truth. I said, you know what I learned? I learned to kiss everybody's butt. Kiss everybody's butt. And I like doing it because it smells good. It feels good, opposed to kicking it. You understand? The church went cold. And then they stood up and gave me a standing ovation because they understood the magnitude. This is why I could no longer be a Muslim, because I couldn't hate. I couldn't do that because there were white people that helped me. There are white people in my family. My great-grandfather's from Scotland. You know, my grandmother was from Jamaica, St. Catherine, Spanish Town. Yeah. So you see, it's about love. It's about you loving you. So when I was a Muslim, I'm in St. Louis. Malcolm selected me to be the honor guard for Messenger Elijah Muhammad, standing on the corner of 14th and Market Street in St. Louis. I'm walking out toward the Key Auditorium to be with the messenger. A white man came out of a pub and came to me and said, "Young man, may I ask you a question?" I said, "You may ask me any question." Before I could respond to the white man, Brother Booker said, "Don't you talk to that devil." The white man turned to Booker and said, "If I am the devil and I'm your opposite, then you must be God. And if you are God, why did you, God, made something that you hate?" You see it now? But coming to Toronto is not like going to Mississippi, because I see white people and black people and Asian people and everybody interrelating. And that is a very beautiful feeling. And that is what I feel here in Toronto. It is really a melting pot, and it's beautiful. Okay? So now I'm going to cut it short, but I want you all to know this, that fibroid tumors or any kind of inflammation of the reproductive organ, any kind of inflammation in the endocrine system, or in the autoimmune system, is because of what? Inflammation caused by mucus that has been broken down. All disease come from that same path. Because I had all kind of stuff. I don't have any of that now. And I thank God. I thank God that I don't have those things now, because I listen. I listen. There is much more that I could talk about, but that will be hold for the next time, because it's 11 o'clock already, 11:30. And they want me to talk about, come to you with Q&A, question and answers. We have just arrived at that, and that is the better part of the speech. Are there any questions? Boy, was this man ready. Tell me about it. How to get rid of the mucus. We begin by cleansing the cells, and this is what I have to offer. An intracellular chelation, meaning I'm going to clean not only the organ, but the cells that makes up the organ, from the level of the mitochondria. And then you abstain from the food that caused the break in the first place. It's as simple as that. Next question. What do I have for what? Irregular heartbeat. I wish that I had treated only irregular heartbeat. We're going to talk about mitral stenosis, myasthenia gravis, and a whole bunch of other stuff that the heart is involved with the brain and all parts of the body, because it's the valve that regulates the blood flow. I used to believe that the heart was the pump, but the lungs are the pump. Yes, we have something for irregular heartbeat. Irregular heartbeat only occurs when there is what? Obstruction someplace in that fluid journey, that arteries or capillaries or veins. We ream them out. But to get in touch, any one of you that have a disease of any kind, you know that I'm only one man, and I didn't come with any compounds. But this is the number that you're going to call. It's 310-838-2490. Any disease or any condition that you may have, call this number, and I assure you that you will be taken care of. I promise you that, or your money back. The brother over there from West Africa. Endometriosis?
Yes.
Endometriosis. You know, when people ask me about a disease, I always remember the first person that came to me with that disease. Endometriosis is Virginia. She's a white woman from Utah. She's a Mormon. She's the wife of a Japanese by the name of Fred Takashita. He lives in Honolulu right now. So she came, and she said, do you think that this is going to work with me? I said, I don't know. Just try it. Endometriosis left, and she had 2 babies. Next question. Yes, oh, wait, she's next. Come to the mic. Yes.
Okay, I wanted to ask about mental health.
What health?
Mental health illnesses, so like
Mental illnesses.
schizophrenia in particular.
Mental illness? How many people you think is in this audience today? Like 3,000 or 2,000 for sure. Every one of us is suffering with mental disease. Including me. Remember where I was in 1961. I was a schizophrenic and paranoia. So therefore, when we're going to address mental disease, we cannot think of calcium or iron, because the brain is composed of what? Carbon and copper. So we cleanse away all of the mucus that cause the brain to be obstructed, and we feed you carbon and copper, and you become the calmest person on earth. Thank you.
My question is, could you please tell us about the thymus glands in the black person?
What gland?
The thymus gland.
The thymus gland. The thymus gland sits between the heart and the throat. The thymus gland is a gland that I read of many years ago. It regulates, and it does things. Calcium. It also regulates sexual activity. The thymus gland is responsible for making you childlike instead of aggressive. Thymus secretion. The thymus gland depends on the same mineral that the thyroid and parathyroid depend on: iodides and bromides. Yes, we have compounds to address such. Michael Jackson, secretary, you know, I traveled with Michael Jackson, and his secretary was suffering with that, and she no longer has it. Next question.
Oh, hello. This side, this side. This side over here.
Oh, over here, my brother, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay,
I
it's
thought
okay.
you're too much, yes.
How do you feel about healing systems such as Reiki and Qigong? What's
What,
your opinion?
Reiki?
Reiki and Qigong.
You mean the system?
Yeah, what do you think about that?
What do I think of Reiki? I know nothing about it. I use the African bio-mineral balance. Reiki, do they cure AIDS?
Not that I know of.
Thank you. Next question.
All right.
Kind of short. What would you suggest for a 10-year-old boy with?
Well, if the boy was suffering with asthma, then I have to go to his bronchial tubes. If he was suffering with rickets, I have to go to his bones. But the boy is suffering with leukemia. What is the difference with leukemia and sickle cell anemia and general anemia and hypoglycemia? They all belongs in the blood. And what it is that occurs with sickle cell anemia? The mucus in the blood breaks the cell into a sickle. But with leukemia, it's a little bit different. Leukemia, the volume of mucus is less. It's very small, but it is 100,000 times more devastating. It's going to eat that cell up. So what do I have to do? I have to stop the white corpuscle from proliferating. And how do you accomplish that? By strengthening the red blood cells.
Right. But what would you use to strengthen the
Well, we use iron. This is why you have to call this number. Iron. There's iron deficiency. It's like West Africa. Do you know that the American government, when someone from West Africa is going to marry an American woman, she is told that there's a possibility that this man may have hepatitis C? And where did that come from? Iron deficiency. Sickle cell anemia, iron deficiency. Leukemia, iron deficiency. General anemia, iron deficiency. Hey, but how are we iron deficient? Well, I want you all to think about this. In 500 years that we've been eating, what are we eating that has iron in it? They told you and I, beans. Beans is a starch product. Beans have starch. So how could something have starch at the same time nourish you when starch is carbonic acid? Iron. Call that number. Please. How old is the child? 10? Oh, call the number, please. And you can...
He's already on.
Doesn't matter. Everybody come to me last. They never come to me first. They go see the doctor. He exhausts them of their money. He exhausts them of their body. And the disease is have a chance to run rampant and crazy for many years. Then they come to Dr. Sebi. When it is now difficult. So I am supposed to perform miracles.
You're the miracle guy, so why not?
Well, it's God's work. It's God's herb. It will work. Next question.
Yes, can you please speak on how you'd go about treating Alzheimer's?
About Alzheimer's?
Yes, please.
What about Alzheimer's?
How to treat it, please. Yes.
How to treat it?
Yes.
And the cause of it. Okay,
Everything,
now.
please.
Did you remember when I said that there's only one disease? If the mucus is in the blood and is leukemia, if the mucus is in the joints, is arthritis. Now, where is the mucus in the case of Alzheimer's? In the brain. And I'm going to ask a question. Are there anybody in the audience that hears a little ringing in the ear? Oh my God, all kind of hands is going up. You know why that little ringing is heard? Because the head is beginning to become obstructed with mucus. So as the mucus invades the brain, it prevents the brain from receiving what? Oxygen. And then the person, hi Mary. Uncle Bob, this is Juliet. Oh. And look, I'm 78. I should be suffering with Alzheimer's. But if you ask me where I were at 3, I'm going to tell you what I was doing at 3 years old. I'm going to tell you what I was doing at 4. I'm going to tell you what I saw at 5. Between 6 and 7, I don't remember too well, but I remember 8, 9, 10 until now. But if I had the mucus on my brain, I wouldn't be able to retain all this information that I've retained over the years, and I could expound on, because it's been 48 years that I've been doing this healing on my own self. And this is what I expect many of us, could do. Because we want to feel good. We want to be in love. So Alzheimer's, I have to give you a compound that has iodides and bromides. And what is that going to do? Break down the calcification on the brain. I once worked at Martin Luther King Hospital, and I saw them open the skull of a woman, and she had about an inch of calcification on her brain. She died. That's why they performed the autopsy. But it was mucus that got hard. So we have to cleanse, break up, and cleanse out, and rebuild. The judge asked me, why do you put so much emphasis on oxygen? I said, ma'am, my compounds are designed to cleanse the body so the body will receive the maximum amount of oxygen. If you take a potato and you put it on a table and leave it on the table, don't you move that potato for 3 months. When you raise it up, what's under the potato? Worms. Why didn't the worms begin at the top of the potato? It was getting oxygen, but under the potato, it was not. I say, Your Honor, if I lay you on a bed and keep you there for 3 months, when they raise you up, you would have bed sores with worms in it too. She said, you make things sound so simple. I say, if they weren't simple, I wouldn't really indulge in them because I'm lazy. Next question.
Yeah, my question is about hiccups. What cause and cure?
In the mic, again, hiccups.
Yes, hiccups.
Hiccup is a nervous problem and water deficient. The person is dehydrating. I found that to be consistent. Nerve caused by dehydration.
Another question is esophageal stenosis in a child.
What's that?
Esophageal stenosis in a child. Stenosis in a child.
Snore?
Esophagus stenosis.
Esophageal.
Oh, no, I hear it. Does the child snore sometimes? I know the child had to snore.
Yes.
So we have to flush out those adenoids in the area of the nose, the cavity, and the air too, all at once. We have a product called Banju. Next question.
What is multiple sclerosis and how do you get rid of it?
What is multiple sclerosis? It prevents you from walking and causes you to get stiff. It's a muscle and nerve disease. So what do? We remove the cause as to why the person is suffering with it. And what we do? Well, this is why that number is up there. Next.
Yes, I've read your nutritional guide on your website, and I noticed you have sweet potato and squash. Why not African yams?
African yams.
Yeah.
African yams. I would have liked for the brother to ask me about fonio and teff, not the yams. There is a yam that is natural, a white one,
Yeah.
not the yellow one. He has starch. I don't know what African yam you're referring to. The white one,
The white one.
you're okay.
Okay.
Not sweet potato, because sweet potato was made. That boy have a lot of sugar in it, including glycerinic acid.
Wow.
They're very bad. And in Africa, we love two things: blood and starch. The African dish isn't green and red and yellow. It's brown and white. Okay. And then you hear talk like, well, I'm not a Yoruba. I'm an Igbo. Hey, hold it, fella. So, you came from the same territory. How come you find it so convenient to say that you are not a Yoruba? You're an Igbo. Aren't you brothers? Maybe, but the starch in the blood predominates. It's like the Hutus and the Tutsis. Aren't they brothers?
Yep.
But they found it so nice to chop each other's up. I mean, animals doesn't do that. You would never see a gorilla doing that to another gorilla. You would never see a gorilla killing another gorilla. But we, the Homo sapien, the civilized one, we find it so convenient to make arms special to kill other human beings. But yet we are civilized. Next question.
What causes glaucoma and cataract, and how do we
I
cure?
don't think that I heard about glaucoma. Because the blind man wasn't seeing at all. He was beyond glaucoma. And what causes glaucoma, brothers? Mucus on the eye. It even looked like mucus on the eye. You could see it. So what we do, we flush it out. We get rid of it by flushing it out with, now listen to what I'm going to say, the African bio-mineral balance. Do you know that when I told the Supreme Court that the African bio-mineral balance is the therapy that I use to cure diseases, the prosecuting attorney said, no, the Dr. Victor Herbert said, the African bio-mineral balance? I've never heard of such a thing. I say, Your Honor, my good physician is 100% right. He have never heard of the African bio-mineral balance. But we have to remind him that he have not heard of a whole lot of other things, and that the African biobalance is only happen to be one of those things that he have not heard of. And the African people doesn't even know that I, Dr. Sebi, their brother and servant, established in the Supreme Court of New York the African biomineral balance as the only therapeutical approach to pathology that reverses disease without interfering or injuring the body. Thank you.
Would this apply same? Would this same apply to cataract then?
This applies to everything that belongs in your body or invaded your body.
Okay, thank you.
Next question.
Yes, I have a friend that doctors give her a couple of months to live because she had cancer.
Cancer of what? Prostate?
No, I think she had ovarian cancer before, maybe 30 years ago.
Cancer of what? Where?
Ovarian cancer.
Oh.
And
Oh, it's a woman.
Yes, and
Oh.
cancer, she come back in a lump in her head.
It come back.
Yes.
It never left. Once you remove it, it's gone. Who were you referring to, Dr. Sebi? Myrtle Ricks. She had breast cancer. Gone forever, 9 years ago.
Is it too late for her?
You know about too late?
They gave
I
her-
went to see a young lady named Stephanie Summers in Washington, D.C. She was in a little crib with meningitis and AIDS. So I told my daughter, I said, why are they paying me $10,000 to come and see this dead child? When I said that to my daughter, the mother of the child is in the kitchen. She said, Dr. Sebi, I know you're going to help Stephanie. Oh my God, why do you have to say that? Look at the responsibility she placed on me. And my daughter said, you're not God. So I cannot put a date on people's lives. Everybody, if you are alive, there is a chance. Thank you. Next question.
What about an eye disease called retinitis pigmentosa?
Oh, that's eye disease. What about that? Could we heal
Could
that?
you do something for that?
Well, I'm going to go to St. Croix.
And also cataract.
Helen Perkins, St. Croix. Her retina had detached and bleeding in the eye chamber. She was cured.
This one, rods and cones.
The what?
Rods and cones are destroyed.
But listen to this. This lady was in worse shape. Call the number.
Dr. Sebi, I'm very grateful and thankful that you came here.
Say,
I said I'm very grateful and thankful that you've come here this evening.
thank you. Thank all of you. I didn't expect all these people. All of you came to hear me talk. You know, I went to Atlanta and there were 8 people there. And I gave them one of my best lectures. I hope I gave you guys a good one. I hope so, because you guys, you know, I don't know what to say about Pine. You know, you all know Pine. And he is unbelievable. He and the other brother brought me here, Clifton. And I said, I'm going, but I know it's snowing and it's wet and it's cold. So I expected about 15 people. 15 nothing. Look at all of you guys. A whole heap of folks. So what was your question?
I have 3, if you don't mind. First one is exocytosis.
Well, you know that I don't have anything with me, right? And you know what I'm going to tell you, right?
Call the number.
But I will say this, that there is a cure for you. Because the one thing that we like to feel good with is that when you come to us, that you're going to get the benefit of what we have to offer. And we're going to work with you until you over that hump. I'm writing a second book. The title of it is Dembele. Dembele, in one of the African languages, help to cross over. The next time I come back to Toronto, I'm bringing with me a cook that will spend a whole day showing you, sisters and brothers, how to prepare food that is so delicious. And it's not going to cost too much and too much time. It's going to give you a lot of energy, because I eat that food. But since it came here, Clifton and Pine been sending me some very heavy plates. Well, when they put the food in my hand nearly went down. What's in this thing that is so heavy? There's some big dumplings. And some boiled green plantain. You know that's heavy. That makes you angry. I know it used to make me pissed off. I want to kill my wife. And it was never her fault. It was me all the time, but I didn't know that. And I didn't have someone like me to help me until 1964. I was 31 years of age. I went to Mexico, and here I am before you today. You see, I listened. Don't eat any meat. Don't eat meat. God did not design our teeth to chew on meat. That's for a tiger. That's for a lion. It's not for us. This is why when I hear Yardie Boy talk about Trini people and Trini people talk about Haitian people talk about everybody, and God knows that when I go to Brazil, they don't even want to talk to me. You know what I found out? That Brazil is the South American country where you find the largest concentration of people. But there are no blacks in Brazil. Not one. No, you don't find black people in Brazil. I thought so, and I made a big mistake. A guy named George that worked for the Board of Health. I said, George, you know that we black people, I said, who are you calling black? Do you know that every black person in Brazil is registered in the census as white or Portuguese, not black? Next question.
What would you have for breast cancer? And would the person have to travel to Honduras to get treatment? Or they can be treated?
It would be good to travel to Honduras to get the treatment. There's a doctor here in the city. He's from Nigeria. Dr. Adomi. He had diabetes. He didn't want to go to Honduras, his wife told me. because he didn't believe that he would be cured. His wife said, you don't believe because he's black? Well, you better go. And he came to Honduras. He went to Honduras. I'm up in my house looking out, and a dome is under the mango tree. Dr. Sebi, I don't have diabetes no more, and I only been here 4 days. Well, what you expect? Is it too early for you to rid yourself of diabetes of 10 years? No, it isn't. But to some of us, it is like a miracle, right? Because we haven't explored ourselves. But what you mentioned was what?
Breast cancer.
Breast cancer.
And would you have to travel, or you have an experience where people are treated
it would be
without
good to
traveling
go
there?
because it's faster. It would be good to go. Because the last breast cancer I had, listen to this one. Her name, she come from Alpharetta, Georgia. What's her name? I remember her name. But when she came, her breast was already rotten off. She had a hole there. Boy. So all I could think of is a poultice. You put the poultice, you put the poultice, you put the poultice and clean her out. What's her name? She got very skinny. And one day, my assistant in Honduras called me. And guess what she's about to show me? A brand new breast is growing back with a nipple on it. How could you do that? All glands grow back. But you have to provide them with the environment that is alkaline for the cells to come back and regenerate. Sir, there is hope. Next question.
Dr. Sebi, I just wanted to ask you just a couple more questions. The exocytosis is a condition of the bone going out of itself. So what causes the bone to become abnormal like that?
It has to be an acid condition that cause the bones to do that. A deformity?
Yes. So basically
that's different.
It's in the ankle. It's in the ankle, and it's very large. This is in my son, and it's very large. And I, been through the doctors, and they want to do surgery. Does he have
swelling anywhere?
No, it's not really swelling. It's just the bones enlarged, very enlarged, and they want to do surgery. But I'm just speculating whether or not.
Do you believe that the bone would grow larger than what it should? It's inflamed. The bone doesn't do that. The bone doesn't grow bigger than what it should. It may break up, but not grow bigger. There's inflammation there. That's all it is. So you could try the treatment. Call the number.
I will. Also, too, before you go to the next question, I have a father who is about 82 years old now, and he has type 2 diabetes and also prostate cancer. And like you said, call the number, but to do the treatment, I heard you said one time that you went on a 90-day fast. Would that be something that he could do, or would he have to do it slowly?
He could do that. He could do that. Because if you stop eating, he would be accelerating the process of healing. Because in stop eating, you're ridding your body of the acids. You know, there's another thing that they tell us that when you eat, don't drink water. Well, that's not true. Because everything we eat is acid. But when you drink water, water is nature's greatest solvent. It neutralizes acid. So why not drink it when you eat beans and rice? So yes, sister, there is hope. Just call the number.
And what about eczema?
What's that?
Eczema.
Eczema? Eczema is when there's nerve problem. There's too much acid in the skin. That would be good to go to Honduras to get into the geothermal springs because they have a pH of 8.9 or 9.6. They begin to regenerate and remove inflammation fast.
Are you recruiting students? Just one more. Are you recruiting students?
Am I including students?
Recruiting students.
Of course I am. Call that number and tell you want to be one.
Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening.
line one. Yeah. Yes.
Good evening. I know I plan to call the number, but I just had a brief question regarding, I have two daughters, twin girls who have sickle cell, and it's been an issue for the past 13 years, their weight with the medical system. So I just wanted to know, like briefly, one of them have a test to do this Tuesday, and I just want to know, is their weight like an attribute of sickle cell disease? Them being very thin, it's an attribute of sickle cell disease?
Sure.
So is there anything I can do to bring their weight up? Because I know I'm going to call the number. I just want to, just for now, because some of the things that they're recommending for my children are actually, I believe, are causing them to get sick. So I just wanted to know, like, other than me feeding them like greasy food, like butter and oily food and milk, like whole milk and stuff, like what I can do right now.
I could talk for my children that you'll get an idea. Remember what I said that we should have for breakfast? Sea moss? Well, my children don't even have sea moss now. They just wake up and drink water and go about their business. My children never ate meat nor drink milk.
Yeah, I cut the meat off.
But they sucked their mama breast 8 years. Some of them even 9 years. They would run off the street from plane and go suck the mama breast. The best milk in the world. Am I right?
Yeah, human.
So, sea moss.
Okay.
But please, call that number.
I will call the number.
Call that number, because what we're doing here, you see all of us in this room, we could create a family of healing people. And that family becomes a support group. Like the sister that came up and talked about her healing. I didn't know this sister. I wasn't the one that did the healing for her. It was my daughter. And my daughter never been to school. Just like Dad. But she understands. She understands. Daddy gave her the opportunity to explore the black brain without the ABC and the 1, 2, 3 and the Socrates. No. Just gonna be black all the way. So what is the education of the black man? Nothing. You use your eyes and you see. And you analyze, you dissect, and you promote. Next question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What would you suggest for getting rid of lipoma?
For glaucoma?
Lipoma, L-I-P-O-M-A.
Lipoma.
Like a fat deposit.
Oh, now I understand. That's nerve, isn't it?
Pardon?
That's nerve.
Is that what it is?
We are addressing nerve and muscle.
So what would you do to reverse that?
Again, we have to cleanse the body and rebuild it.
Okay. Thank you.
Everything that you come with, we cleanse and we rebuild. The advantage of that is this. Here is a woman that came with her husband. He had diabetes, he had gout, and he had some kind of problem walking. When he came back a month later, she said, Dr. Sebi, I'm feeling good. My diabetes is gone. But I came back for my second treatment. But my husband is doing better. And he began to tell me how good he feels. Then she did this. Tell him the rest. Tell him the rest. Oh, he said, it's been 4 years since we made love and we're making love again. But he didn't tell me anything about that. That is the advantage of the intracellular cleansing. You're going to get parts of you that you didn't tell me about. That's why I don't worry about anything. Look, I got it so pat down that if you call my office, don't tell them what you have. And you're going to be surprised what you're going to see. Then you're going to think that we perform voodoo. Well, I don't know anything about voodoo. If I was a voodoo man, I would have the dollars coming out of the bank at night. Next question.
Hi, Dr. Sebi. I have questions regarding paralysis and gallstones.
Which one?
Paralysis.
Paralysis.
And gallstones.
Nerve again.
I'm sorry?
Nerve.
But that's treatable?
Is it treatable?
Yeah.
Well, I've had people in a wheelchair for 18 years were walking.
Okay. I get that. Good. Answer the question.
Philogene Lake, St. Martin, Rambo. The man was in a wheelchair for 18 years. Couldn't move his legs. How he knew about me? Mr. Emmanuel from Trinidad. His son had leukemia. When Mr. Emmanuel saw his son cured, he told Philogene, there's a crazy herbalist that could heal you. Philogene said, in short, Dr. Sebi, let me tell you the story. I dreamt after 3 months of treatment that I went in the backyard and picked up 3 avocado pears and put them on the dinner table. But when I woke up next day, I said, boy, the herb doctor at least had me dreaming that I was walking and that I went in the backyard and I picked up 3 avocado pears and put them on the dinner table. And when he woke up the next day, he pulled the chair, the wheelchair, and when he reached to make his leg move up, his leg moved voluntarily, both. Then he stood up, and when he went to the kitchen, there were the 3 avocado pears on the table. It wasn't a dream. But when you are in a condition very long, your body makes you dream yourself back to reality. It happened in D.C. with Denise De Leon. She was blind. She came down the steps and saw her girlfriend with a blue dress on. Told her girlfriend, what a pretty blue dress. The girlfriend told the neighbor, something freaky happened today. Denise saw me with my blue dress and she's blind. No, she was no longer blind, but she just got up of her sleep. She thought that she dreamt it too. Yes, sir. Next question.
Good evening. I'm here tonight with my niece who's 8 months old and diagnosed with sickle cell anemia. And she's had quite a few crises to date. And she goes to Sick Kids Hospital. She's been in and out. And it seems like a lot of the treatment is experimental, which is very stressful for the family.
Do you have a trait?
It's not me, no. It's
the daddy?
No, the mother and the father both have the trait, yes.
Oh, it's not your child?
No, it's mine, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
The daddy, I know that someone had to have the trait.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
All of us have a trait of sickle cell anemia. Why does that come about? You know who Dick Gregory is? Dick Gregory told the audience in Cramden Hall that God gave us sickle cell to fight malaria. Why? Sickle cell will kill you in itself. How could a disease prepare you to fight another? When I went to Georgetown Pediatric Hospital in Washington, Dr. Steinberg said, sickle cell was a disease that black people acquired 10,000 years ago because of a blood went through mutation. Well, God nor mutation caused sickle cell. It's the deprivation of iron fluorine. Call that number.
Can be healed.
I have many cases of sickle cell healed.
Yeah.
I
Have
mean,
to
that's
come
a piece
to
of,
Honduras? Or,
that's right.
Yes.
That's a piece of
It's a must.
cake. Next question.
What is the best help for nervousness, bad sleep, and bad pain?
What a big calling.
No good sleep.
Yes, you can. We have something called the banjo, we have the biento, and we have another product that is called lino. But when you call, tell them what you have, and then they're going to send you a mini package. Say that you want the mini package. They know what that is and what that is going to address. Next question.
Hi, Dr. Sebi. I'd like to say that you solidified in me to become a vegetarian for 2 years. Once I heard your information, I just became one, no questions asked. And I want to say thank you. And next question is, what foods can we eat to activate the pineal gland?
The pineal gland?
Yes.
Well, the cerebral cortex is made of copper, and the pineal gland is made of carbon. So what is the product that has the highest concentration of carbon? Iron. Iron again.
And I will call the number.
But why you want to activate the pineal gland?
It's time.
Because the pineal gland, what activates the pineal gland more than anything else is oxygen. You know, it's like a little girl in Venezuela. She didn't like to keep her clothes on. She liked to be naked. Her family is a millionaire or billionaires in Venezuela, and they was ashamed that the little girl is 18, but she liked to live without clothes. So they took her to England, they took her to France, they took her to the United States and Mexico for psychiatric treatment. They came to me last. They said, "You think you could help our daughter?" I said, "I'll try." What happened? She doesn't like to wear clothes. So I packed my gears, I went to La Guaira, Venezuela, and I went in the room with the naked girl. I said, "Hi." She said, "Hi." She said, "What kind of question are you going to ask me now?" I said, "I have two only. And depending how you answer the first one will determine whether I have to ask the second. How do you feel when you take your clothes off?" She said, "I feel like I'm relaxing because when I have them on, I can't breathe." What was wrong with the girl?
Lack of oxygen? Mucus in the
This
nose.
man figured it out. You see, when you take all your clothes off, your body is immersed in oxygen. You're going to breathe. But if you have a problem in your nasal passage that you cannot breathe, you will take your clothes off to breathe. So this is why when we were living in Africa without no clothes on, the wise people said that we were savages. But in reality, we were quite nice and breathing all through and out. But if you take off your clothes now to live like that, nobody would be looking in your eyes. They'd be looking at your vagina.
So all things green. I juice a lot. Like I use a juicer.
What do you juice?
Everything that's green.
Well, you see, no good.
Okay.
Because people juice carrots and beets. Beets has inorganic lead, and carrot has starch and carotene.
I know, I don't use that, but I'm saying all things green.
What
all
kind of
things,
green?
Lettuce, green onions, everything. Anything I see is green. I'll even juice the grass after. All things green.
You could grease green stuff. Because it has chlorophyll doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy. It could also have starch like wheatgrass. Wheatgrass is green, but it has starch in it because wheat was made. It's not like spelt. Spelt natural. Callaloo. Juice callaloo. Don't juice anything but callaloo. And you got it made. Next question.
Thank you, Dr. Sebi.
Hi, thank you.
I just wanted to say that your nutritional recommendations have been very helpful to me. And I want to find out, is it okay to take mineral supplements given that the body is made up of minerals? And if it is okay, what format? There's sulfates, there's citrates, there's chloride like magnesium chloride. What form of a mineral is beneficial to take?
The mineral that you need to take has to come from the ground that God made via a plant. They call the conversion of a plant iontrophoresis. Mineral or electrical. They don't come in oxides or chelated.
Okay.
They're phosphate. Phosphate of the mineral. Why? Because they are electrical. They're considered native plants. They do not live by the process of what you call this process that plants grow by?
Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis. Natural plants, not so. Photovoltaic, because you're alive.
Okay. And what is do you have a mineral supplement?
Of course we do. We call it Viento.
Viento?
Viento. When you
Okay.
take it, you feel energy. You're up all night, want to clean the house, and you feel so good and calm. Eddie Murphy, mother, well, I gave it to her. She stopped smoking 3 packs of cigarette a day in 24 hours. That's why he bought me that Range Rover. Next question.
God bless you again for coming, Dr.
God
Sebi.
bless all of us.
I just want to know, you talked about stuff that are indigenous to Canada and things that are easily found in Canada, and one of them you mentioned was Canadian wild snake root. Could you just tell us how to use that, and if anything else that comes to the top of your mind that is popular here in Canada, what we could obtain easily in Canada? Please and thank you.
One, if you could use it. Of course you can. The snake root?
Yes.
You just got to boil it for about an hour, boil it down to an extract. You take a pound, you take a gallon of distilled water, you boil it down until the water comes even with the herbs. You pour that off, you put a half a gallon again, you boil it down till the water comes even with the herb, and you join the 2 liquids. Then you boil the 2 liquids down to 1/2 pint. That's an extract. And when you take that, you're going to feel that in seconds.
Thank you.
Last question, they say.
Thank you very much. You mentioned before about distilled water on the pH scale being 7.5, and I was wondering how the water that we get here, which is fluoridated, how does fluoridated water affect the nutrients of the compounds that we will make?
You mean the chlorine you mentioned?
Yeah,
the chemicals in the water.
Yeah, the chemicals in the water that they claim to
It will affect it. It would change the dynamics of it, change the structure of it, because it is adulterated now. Water should be clean. Many people talk about distilled water. Distilled water is good to cook your food with, but not for you to drink.
So natural spring water would be the best for us?
Yes, glacier waters are good. And Canada has some of the best waters in the world, you know. They do. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very sorry.
Excuse me, doctor. Doctor, just one more, doctor. No, they're very important. For a person that have a dialysis problem, is it there hope for that person?
Well, I have taken, my first patient of dialysis was Raghunanda. Raghunanda was a brother out of Washington, but he used to like Indian food. But Indian food have a lot of chemicals in it. And he used to drink a lot of milk, obstructed his kidneys. He was in dialysis machine for 5 years. I took him off. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. I appreciate all of you, and I hope that next time when I come back, the lecture will be different.